I have spent an unnecessary amount of time in trying to put together a video to talk about this. Like 18 hours to be exact. Just for my original video to be completely unusable on YouTube because the copy strike system hates everything I've created for it. I had a whole breakdown and a review, and no matter what I've done to try to appease the system, it's not having it. So rather than trying to choke the system into my will, we're changing tactics. So we're going to talk about the film. We're going to talk about the things I liked, the things I didn't like. We're just going to leave it at that. So instead of having fantastic edits, you just get to look at me the whole time. So buckle up. It's going to be not as much of a doozy as it could have been. So, Wuthering Heights. I did not have any grand expectations for this film whenever I went to go see it, but it was a pleasant surprise. From beginning to end, the movie held my attention the entire time. There was moments, especially watching it in theaters, where I was extremely uncomfortable. The amount of tonal whiplash in this film is, I don't want to say insane, but it is crazy the amount of times that it felt like I was going from one end of the spectrum and being thrown against the wall like I'm in some novel, some kind of smut novel. So at the very beginning, it immediately illustrates this tonal whiplash where the movie is dark. It's like right at the beginning credits before it shows any scenes, and it sounds like there is a Victorian era OnlyFans climax about to happen, just for it to switch it up and give you some drastically different plot leading device. I don't want to get into it because I don't want to spoil it. In my original video, I had like a spoiler-free section and then like an actual full breakdown of the movie, and we can't do that. We can't do that here apparently. So I don't want to get too much into it, but I highly recommend just, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But this one intro scene set the bar for the entire rest of the film. It was drastic. I'll put it at that. The atmosphere, however, was incredible. It was a phenomenal atmosphere the entire time. Every single scene was so intentional about what it was putting on display. It was fantastic. Not a single element felt out of place. The background, the foreground, things that the characters were doing or wearing, it was all wonderfully well done. Except for the music. That it's a bit of a critique. It's a bit of something that I didn't care for the first time that I watched it, because all of the music was modern. It was not of the time. It was not of the 1800s. It was very modern music, and apparently some of it is very popular on TikTok right now. I didn't know that, but apparently it is. And it did find its niche in the movie. It took more than one watch for me, though. The first time that I watched it, which was in theaters, some of the music I felt was very appropriate for the tones, and then other times I was like, this is pulling me out of the movie. On the second and third watch, yes, I did watch it 3 times for the purpose of my 28-minute movie review that apparently is not going to see the light of day. It took me so long. Anyways, it did find its place after I had a better appreciation for what was happening in the movie. it was setting the tone that the characters were feeling or experiencing, while the visuals were doing not as much heavy lifting in that department, but was having visuals that kept the movie moving forward in the emotions department, and it blended together very well. There is a scene where Catherine, Margot Robbie's character, is wearing a wedding dress and walking through a field towards the church, and the dress, the first time I watched it, the dress was encapsulating. I was having a hard time deciding if it was special effects or if it was practical effects, but the dress looked great. It was billowy, it was crazy. And the first time I threw, I was so entranced by this that I didn't even realize that the lighting of the rest of the scene was changing to show other emotions that was happening or feeling, and that she was going from this dark gloomy life into a brighter future. And when I did realize that, I was like, that's so great. I loved it from a movie production scene to a story element. It was fantastic. I know you thought I was going to be hating on this movie, but I hope the title explains. I actually really had a good time. All of the characters felt very alive. And what I mean by that is that they all felt like they were very real people with their own problems, dealing with interacting characters, all within the world that we were given. It was very believable and grounded in its chosen reality. Not a single time did I feel like a character was doing something that was out of place or out of touch with their character, either development or just their static place in the world. I gotta get my brew on. So let's talk about the reality of it. The reality of this world was weird as hell. There was times that it felt super corny just at face value, and there were times that it was the most disturbing thing that I could think of seeing in the moment. It was shock and awe, mixed with hypersexual tension that would make anybody who deals with secondhand embarrassment terribly want to die right then and there. It was great. It was really, really great, actually. But there were a lot of moments in this movie that made me extremely uncomfortable, so much that I was physically cringing away from the movie theater screen, and I wanted to become part of the leather of my chair and just disappear. And I know it sounds like I was having a bad time, but when I left the theater, the first time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. The movie also made me laugh a lot. I think a lot of it there was a lot of humorous elements. Like the first half of this movie definitely felt like a rom-com to me. There were so many things that were so funny. Some of it I think was intentional, and then other things I don't know if it was super intentional for it to be funny, or if it made me so uncomfortable that I just had to laugh. There was a lot of points where I was literally holding my hands over my own mouth because I wanted to laugh and I didn't want to be rude to everybody else in the theater. I was really struggling, but that first half of the movie, I was having the giggles, and then the second half of the movie, I was entranced at the depravity of what was happening and the terrible choices being made, because it is a tragedy, and don't forget about that. It's worth the watch though. There was, again, the stark contrast of the dark romance and the comedy. There's a scene with eggs, and I don't want to talk about it too much because I think you have to experience it in the moment. But there is a moment with eggs that Heathcliff sits on some eggs, and it goes from him being disgusted and wanting to laugh at the prank to it being way more sensual than eggs should ever be looked at in that way. And there's another scene. I don't want to get too much into it because, again, first time experience is important on this movie, I think. But Margot Robbie's character is very flustered, and she has to go and be by herself to take care of herself. We'll leave it at that. And she gets interrupted and walked in on. And that's part of the secondhand embarrassment that I was just like, no, I just wanted to walk away from the scene because it hit right here. That embarrassment hit me right in the chest, and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, halfway through, again, there's a massive tonal shift, and it was bringing the creepy back. All right, it was shifting into this dark, creepy, obsessive, theatrical craziness, and it really starts to make you question, these characters are not good people. And like, some of the characters have character development. Some of it's on screen, some of it's off screen, and it's just kind of implied, which again, I think understanding the book and everything is good with this movie because it's not a direct adaptation. And some of the characters, I'd say even most of the characters, if not all of them, have this stagnation of character development that is almost non-existent, like no character development for them. But it doesn't take away from the movie. It doesn't take away from the story, which is weird because most of the time, if a character doesn't have character development, you just don't want the characters in the story at all. But in this way, it actually works so well because of the tragedy at the end. It makes it make sense, and they portray this character stagnation in a way that is not boring at all. It was really fun to watch. Makes you question a lot of things, but it was really a good time. There's only one character in the whole movie that I actually liked, and it's Edgar. He is the nicest guy, and his character anchors everything else that happens. It's literally, from a certain point of view, everything is happening to Edgar, and it's so unfair. He's my favorite character in the whole thing because he's the only one who seemed like he was not crazy. God. But yeah, the movie was not what I was expecting, and I was pretty surprised. I wasn't super sold on going to go see it, but after we were done watching it, I walked out of that movie telling Amber I was glad we went. I had a great time. It was one of those movies that I was not expecting anything from, and it turned out to be a fantastic time. So much to the point that I decided to spend 18 hours making a 30-minute video, well, 28-minute video. That's not going to go anywhere. So, yeah. So I would say when I first walked out of the theater, it was a 6.5 out of 10 for me, because again, it was fun, it was good, but it wasn't this spectacular piece of cinema. But after I had to watch it a few times for my other video, I would bump it up to a 7 out of 10. I would say if you are a romance reader, or if you enjoyed The Notebook, the movie, you will enjoy this movie, I have a feeling, unless you're just being a hater for no reason. But it was a good movie. A lot of people out there that were hating on it, I saw some people giving it like a 3 or a 4. Rotten Tomatoes was kind of a mixed bag. I don't think so, and that might be an unpopular take with some people, because some people really wanted it to be a direct book adaptation, but it was really good. And I think if it was a direct book adaptation, I would like the movie less. But that's all I got. Thank you guys so much, and as always, have a fantastic day. See you.